Twilight caresses the air. The river mist hangs sweet and fair. The evening swallows, they whisper their tune, dancing on the moon. Why have the stars called us here?
Welcome, welcome, welcome to Songwriters Alive with Tom Cooney. We've got a great special episode for you today. It is the best of Season 1, Part 2 review. As if you remember from our first review episode from Season 1, we had some wonderful songwriters sharing their songs, highlights, and their opinions and insights and really gifts about the songwriting craft and things that have helped them and things that they think will help other people. Very generous of them. So again, Steve Brodsky was on the first part review. Just the icon of the Lehigh Valley, wonderful artist and songwriter. Also, Gene Galligan, a good friend of mine, a professional keyboard player his whole life, extremely talented person. Shared one of his unique improvisational originals that was backed up by classic text from different people. Very unique thing. We also had Lisa Jeanette, Greater Philadelphia Singer-Songwriter, sharing one of her great keyboard songs, Top of the Ferris Wheel, just a brilliant, brilliant song. And of course, Phyllis Chappell from Greater Philadelphia, the jazz vocalist and guitarist, and just sharing one of her wonderful original songs about reacting to COVID and lockdown by writing a song called Dig Deeper. Just fascinating stuff. I hope you enjoyed Part 1. You can find it on Rocking the Valley on YouTube in their playlist called Songwriters Alive with Tom Cooney. You can also find it on my YouTube page, Tom Cooney, in the playlist or folder, playlist called Songwriters Alive with Tom Cooney. So it also airs every Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Rocking the Valley YouTube. And you can catch that link from my Facebook page or just go straight to Rocking the Valley at 7 p.m. Eastern Time Monday, or again later in the playlist. Excuse me. It's a very unique show. We give one songwriter an entire hour to stretch out and play 3 or 4 songs. I might contribute a couple of songs during that hour, but most of it's about the artist, what they think about their songs, what they want to play, what they think about the craft, where you can find their music, where you can buy their music, their background, how they grew up in music, and how music started for them, and how songwriting started. So it's a great insight into songwriting and some generous and very talented songwriters. Hey, let's get on to Part 2 of the Best of Season 1 review. Thank you for listening. Please like the video. If you do, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's important. It helps the channel progress on to the next stage of YouTube capabilities that a channel can have. So please subscribe to the channel. I appreciate it. Be safe. Be well. Be kind. Be positive, as we always say. Enjoy the show. Hey there. Our first look back during Part 2 of our Season 1 review of Songwriters Alive with Tom Cooney is going to be with Julie Ann Ott, O-T-T, accompanied on fiddle by the great Rob Lincoln. Julianne is a wonderful songwriter, very expressive and very unique lyrics. We had a great episode. You can find her at Philly Julie, most of her social media stuff, and you'll see here in the notes how to access her music and get a hold of her. A wonderful songwriter. This was in the very early part of the pandemic, when people were pressing technology a lot, and Zoom is having issues and Facebook Live was having issues. So there will be some audio quality issues, but please fight through them. We're here for the song, as you know. And because they were social distancing, Julianne and Rob were out on Julianne's porch, so there was a little bit of ambient noise as well. But it didn't matter. The song was just so beautiful, and all of Julianne's songs are wonderful. I hope you enjoy this song called Bubbles from Julianne Ott with Rob Lincoln.
See through you, see through me, floating temporarily, like a drop of dew, dandelion seed. We all surrender to the gravity, 2 of a million, still a part of one. Our will is strong, resilient as the sun. We are bubbles in a cosmic dream. Universes crash and then recede, crash and then recede. See into you, see into me, see spirit shimmer brilliantly. The bluest of blue mirrors the sea, magnifies so vividly, blending in the prism of your eyes. Light is air, these bubbles start to rise. We are bubbles in a cosmic dream. Universes crash and then recede, crash and then recede. Saw through you, saw through me. We saw each other fleetingly. The winds, they blew us far and free. We float into infinity. We are bubbles in a cosmic dream. Universes crash and then recede. Bubbles gliding, hanging on to life. Daylight fading and we crash into the night. Crash into the night. Crash into the night. Crashing into the night.
That's wonderful.
Thanks. It's a new one. Pretty new. So
How new is it?
nice playing. We haven't had a chance to really practice, so this is we're winging it, but Rob's a good winger. So
That was very good. That was very good.
I almost put my wrong wing up. It's this wing, actually.
That was Bubbles by Julianne Ott, accompanied by Rob Lincoln. A wonderful Julianne song. You can kind of get the dreaminess and fluidity of her style. It's very interesting. We then went on to talk about the craft a little bit. Julie had said she had been writing for a while and performing for a while, but then realized she needed to take it someplace different, someplace a little more focused maybe for her. And she talks a little bit about that. And she also talks a little bit about keeping at it and chiseling and wheedling and noodling, and two really good insights. Enjoy this brief bit of chat from Julianne Ott.
and I really didn't nothing really came together till about 10 years ago. So
And what do you think it was that made the gelling kind of happen?
desire to really crack down, like crack the code on how to songwrite. Like I had the lyrics, I had the music. How do you put them together? So I figured out how to do that, and it was just kind of determination.
Yeah.
It seemed it was really, really hard to do, and it's still hard, but it gets easier with time.
Yeah. It's the old Edison quote. It's 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. Hey, you started to talk about the process and putting things together, and sometimes it's like a puzzle. Was I hearing from that, and maybe I heard it wrong, that the lyrics kind of come first sometimes for you?
Yeah, usually, but I noodle a lot. If you've been playing a long time, you know how that works, and you just start noodling, and it happens easier if you can do kind of both at the same time. Because I've found that if I write the lyrics first and try to put them to music, there's a lot of pruning that has to happen, and I'd rather not do it that way. But sometimes that's just the way it happens. So, and I'm okay with pruning.
Yeah.
I just want the song to be good.
Hey, hope you enjoyed that visit with Julianne Ott, accompanied by Rob Lincoln, and Julianne sharing some of her songwriting insights. I love how she said she loves to noodle. And a lot of songwriters do that. They pick up a guitar and noodle and play around with chords, with melodies, and words might come. And for them, it's like a laboratory approach. And other songwriters separate the music and lyric processes a little more formally and bring them together when they think they need to. Again, there's like any craft, be it painting or be it woodwork or dance, any art. There's lots of approaches to finding creativity and producing creativity. And it's some really neat insights there from Julianne. Hey, our next peek back at the best of season 1, part 2 is going to be with singer-songwriter Matthew Gordon. Matthew's from the greater Philadelphia area. He belongs in lots of different groups, and you'll see that in the episode as well as down in the link in the comments here. And a wonderful musician, songwriter, instrumentalist, particularly on the dobro, as you're going to find out. And a very generous person as well. He has spearheaded a lot of musical charity projects and given incredible amounts of hours to music projects that wind up giving lots of money to different charities for people in need. Just a great example. First up is a song from Matthew Gordon, an original his, called Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms.
I wanted to do something different, so I dug up into my old book of lyrics that had not yet been finished, and I decided to just try to finish it, and it's kind of a fun song. So anyway, this song is called ATF. wedged in between his teeth. As he passed me by, he sipped the beer and winked at me. Well, it's alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. He said, it sounds like a party to me. Well, it's alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. Ain't that the way Jesus wanted it to be? With an iron cross sticker on his license tag and a 30-06 strapped to his saddlebag. He's got 35 bottles set up on the back fence, one for every $100 that he owes in back rents. From 60 yards we've already hit 34. After one more bottle we'll drink 35 more. 'Cause there's alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. He said it sounds like a party to me. Alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. Ain't that the way Jesus wanted it to be? Well, it's alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. It seems just like a party to me. Who brought the chips? Alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. Ain't that the way Jesus wanted it to be?
That was wonderful.
I got that out of my system.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed that song by Matthew Gordon called ATF, standing for Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. Matt's a really good dobro player, as you can tell. And he writes very unique songs of different styles. I hope you caught his songwriting tip there at the very beginning of that, where he talked about he went back to a bunch of notes for things that weren't finished and did some more work on it. And that's where the song came from. That's a very, very common thing among songwriters because different inspirations for different songs come at different times. When you hear something or feel something or want to say something, you'll go write it down. And it may be 25% of what you're eventually going to write about the topic, or 50%. Sometimes it's just the hook in the chorus, the key phrase. Sometimes it's just a title. This is a great title for a tune. It could be anything. So that's a neat thing. Don't let that one sneak right by you. Always keep your notebooks. Keep your notebooks. And put everything down, and don't worry about wasting paper. You're going to go back. You're going to fill in those pages. So the other tip we talked about is a couple episodes ago was make sure that when you do craft, if it's a good tip for you, is leave spaces between each line that you're writing. Allow yourself the space to edit, because that's where the craft refines itself. You know, as you just heard, Matthew Gordon is a very good dobro player. And so he did something very unique for us in this episode. He talked about the dobro instrument. So he's going to explain its history and how it works, and some of the great modern artists, including some that he's had a chance to do work with and get taught by. So listen to this very unique instrumental instrument lesson. This is really cool.
Thank you for that opportunity.
I got to tell you, you said you were taking lessons, I guess, with Jimmy Heffernan.
Well, I go to this. I used to go. Well, for the last 5 years. This year it was canceled, but for the last 5 years I've gone to this thing called Rezo Summit in Nashville, Tennessee, every year, and they have like 20 of the best dobro players teaching. They've had, Rob Ikes runs the thing. Cindy Cash Dollar's been there. Ivan Rosenberg, Billy Cardine, Orville Johnson.
Wow.
Some of the names are escaping me at the moment. But anyway, there's like a bunch of great teachers, Sally Van Meter, and he was one of them as well, Jamie Heffernan. So I had a few classes with him. And although he lives in New Jersey, so when I got back here, I had a gig, and it was in his neck of the woods, and the guy I was doing it with couldn't make it that night. So just on a whim, I asked, "Hey, would you be willing to do a gig with me?" And he said yes very happily. And so yeah, it's a real treat to play with him. I mean, he's played with Brad Paisley and Joe Diffie and all kinds of big stars. He's won a Grammy actually.
That's wonderful. Now, for the folks in the audience, Rezo is short for resonator, and can you explain how that instrument works?
Yeah, I'm sorry, this is out of the screen here, but yeah, this is a resonator guitar. This is an actual dobro brand dobro. I guess I've covered up the logo with my tuner, but it's a dobro brand dobro that I've got playing here today. This is a Model 60, and what it is, this hubcap thing you see here is just the cover plate. Underneath there is a cone that it obviously it vibrates with the sound. It's got a bridge that makes the cone vibrate, saddle, and then these are just sound holes, and it's pretty much hollow inside. And it was originally invented before they had electric guitars in the 20s, I guess it was, and by the Do Piero brothers, and that's why it's called Do Piero brothers. And they also started. I think they also were affiliated with the National company, but which made more. They're more famous for steel body guitars. Dobro is more famous for wood body guitars. But it's a unique sound that it survived even after electric guitars were invented. It was before electric guitars, they needed something to compete with banjos, because banjos were, as you know, just unbearably loud, and something had to be done to
I agree.
put them back in their place, I think. So yeah. Oh, Greg Booth is another teacher, and he plays both dobro and banjo, and it's kind of funny, he says he says a lot of times that his dobro friends will say, why do you play both dobro and banjo? Yeah. And he'll say, well, so it's so that when I put the banjo down, I don't have to hear that stinking thing.
I agree. Now, a lot of folks in the audience are probably familiar with Alison Krauss, and I think Jerry Douglas is her.
Yes. He's been at the Rezo Summit once. He gave kind of a special class. He's kind of a superstar. He is the ambassador of dobro-ness. He is the most famous dobro player, I think, ever. Yeah. So yeah, and he's just phenomenal.
Hey, thanks to Matthew Gordon for that great discussion of the dobro, how that instrument got its name, who some of the great players on the instrument are. And Matthew's always so interesting to talk to about music and instrumentation. Just and make sure you catch up on Matthew's music as well. Our next guest is a young singer-songwriter, Alyssa Dodge. Alyssa is from Eastern Pennsylvania. She's been playing music for a while and actually started writing songs a few years ago as well. So she's got a release or two out and some airplay, and a good example of someone who's younger, who loves music, who thinks they want to start writing and has started to develop her craft. So it's a really great example. So for any member out in the audience who's listening, you're never too young and you're never too old to write. Pick up the pen and just do it. You get better by doing it. That's how you do it. Enjoy this song called I Should Have Told You That I Love You by Alyssa Dodge.
down knowing that could have been me. You met her at the beach, you told her everything, she even met your mom. You had long talks, she never worried about the clock, but now she's run away. But the way you fell for her, it broke you. And now you can't get back up for someone new. And now I miss my shot. I guess I should have told you that I loved you and I met you. Now I'm messed up and I can't sleep. I wanna go back to me and you. I should have told you that I loved you. From the day you said hello, I wasn't letting you go. You told me about her and promised I was better. But I know you were perfect together. And you won't let her memory slip away. I guess I should have told you that I loved you and I met you. Now I'm messed up and I can't sleep. I wanna go back to me and you. I should have told you that I loved you. And I know you're not ready to hear this, but when I look up at the night sky, I know you're the guy I've been waiting for all this time. But you're caught on her and it's okay to cry. I guess I should have told you that I loved you and I met you. Now I'm messed up and I can't sleep. I wanna go back to me and you. I should have told you that I loved you. Should have told you that I loved you.
Wonderful.
Thank you. My headphones kept falling off.
That happens to me too. Thanks for that song, Alyssa Dodge, and that was from our episode in season 1 with her. We then went on to talk about the songwriting craft a little bit with Alyssa, and we talked about, how do you know it's time to start a song or a part of a song? And it is a great question that artists of all kinds struggle with. How much do you have to think or bake or ruminate or process, and when do you know it's time to start coming out of that? Or if it's something that's coming very quickly, how do you know just to react very quickly? It's different. It's different. Every time it's different. So it's always a great topic to do. And we also talked about some other songwriting process stuff for her. You'll listen to it. You enjoy it. What starts you writing that song? What's the thing that clicks it for you? that says it's time to start writing?
Okay, so this is gonna sound weird, but I hate writing songs when I know that people are around. I just don't feel as comfortable. So like if something has happened to me, I'll wait until I'm home alone and then I'll be like, okay, I need to get this out. And that's when it comes to me. I feel like I don't write as well when I like know people are like around listening to me.
I agree with that. I have to be alone.
Yeah.
If you were going to have a couple of things you would say to a younger singer-songwriter who's just starting out writing and maybe is thinking about maybe going to an open mic or something, or what kinds of advice would you give to someone like that? Good things that have kind of helped you.
I would say to definitely keep it as a hobby. You don't want to jump into trying to make it a job right away, because sometimes that can be like overwhelming. It can make you not like it as much, I feel. I don't know. Keep it as a hobby as much as you like it. Don't overwork yourself. And open mics aren't that bad. People are so nice. Don't worry about it. I wouldn't stress about it.
That's a good message. And what about in terms of the songwriting craft? Is there a tip or two that you can give someone who's just picking up the pen for the first few times that has kind of helped you?
Yeah. I always write about my feelings, so I feel like that's always easy to write about. So, you know what to say. It's your own feelings. So, I guess even at first, just start off with something that you like know that you can write about and a topic that you feel strongly about, and you can make it into a song, a couple of songs even.
That's a good point. Starting out with what you're familiar with helps you craft your initial songs and helps you learn the craft, and then you can start expanding the content. That's a really good tip for a younger songwriter. Thank you. Hey, thanks to Alyssa Dodge for sharing a little bit of her songwriting technique and secrets. And like a lot of artists, she prefers to be alone when she starts crafting, or always be crafting. I'm like that too. It's rarely I have to shut out a lot of external stimuli before I can really zero in on what I'm trying to do. But every artist is different. Our next, we're going to revisit a little bit of time with Steve Brodsky. Steve Brodsky, as we said, the icon of the Lehigh Valley, wonderful singer-songwriter, wonderful performer, just such great history in the Mid-Atlantic region, especially in the Lehigh Valley area where he's from. Great songwriter. We talk a little bit with Steve about a good friend of his had just passed, and Steve was talking about that person, and Steve talks about that a little bit. And then we get to talk with Steve about some of the other artists he's played with. And Steve got going about some of the deep musical history of the greater Lehigh Valley, eastern Pennsylvania area. And seeing that that's our home base as we spread our signal out around the Mid-Atlantic and beyond, this is very interesting talk. So, and enjoy this short time with Steve Brodsky. It's a reminder that singer-songwriting is a lot about the people you meet and the people you play with as well as many of them being great instrumentalists in Steve's case, who've supported his craft as he's gone out and gone forward. And Steve's got a great sense of humor. Just enjoy this brief time with Steve Brodsky here.
As a real gentleman, he was truly a gentleman. He was a real kind dude and sweet guy.
Yeah.
But he's gone, man. And I wrote a song for him.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good thing. They're still alive. They're still alive when people talk about them. You can see people's eyes.
How they are still in heaven.
Yeah.
They're not in purgatory.
Yeah. you had mentioned Kenny Siftar. You work with a small number of key guitarists in the area, including Jimmy Meyer. And
Jimmy and I did probably almost 15 years together, and then he moved on to talk about moving on. He moved on to the Al Mixer which is the polka was very successful polka guy. Alex Al was his father. Alex did the commercial for Hummel's Meats. There was a commercial with a guy with a one-man band kind of setup. That was Alex, and Alex wound up doing all of the recorded music for the movie Polka King, which was Jack Black, which was based on a guy out of Hazleton, Pennsylvania.
I saw that movie. What a unique movie.
There was a documentary that they based this movie on. It's entitled, it's on Netflix actually still today. The man who would be, and then the word polka is inserted, the man who would be king in Polka King, basically.
Yeah.
Jan Levon, who was out of Hazleton, Pennsylvania. And
right.
What a character, as the movie portrays. He was big in Music Fest. He did Music Fest for many, many years. He was one of the polka standouts. They had at Music Fest for years, and he was quite the polka king.
Yeah, that is just amazing. Now, I know that you work with these guys, and Still is the most recent release. Now, all of your music, I guess, is pretty much on the normal channels. You're on Spotify, Apple Music.
Yeah, I'm on all of the platforms, as they say.
Yeah. Amazon Music, Google Play, Deezer.
Yeah. Walmart's.
Oh, really?
I'm on Walmart's, man.
Oh, I didn't know they had their own thing.
Yeah.
Too much.
I prefer being on Kmart's, but I don't think that's going to happen.
That is a true thing. Good, incredible Pennsylvania, Eastern Pennsylvania musical history there. Chat with Steve Broski. We then got to talk about Steve Broski and some of the recognition and awards he has garnered, and it's important. I think to show this part of that episode because he has, he's down to earth, he's friendly, he's supportive, he's low key with other musicians, with his fans, he's always appreciative. Just a great example of someone who's had success with the craft and with the game. And here we talk a little bit. I talk a little bit and get to Steve to talk a little bit about some of those awards, and he has some unique perspective and additional insights on them, and just another great short section. Enjoy this other bit with Steve Broski, please. Without going into them in detail, Steve, because I don't have 2 days to do it, you've received dozens of awards in the region, including male vocalist, best band, lyricist, best Americana album, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, from the Morning Call, from Lehigh Valley Music Awards. It's really, as you said, it's a very unique area, but people do speak up and support people that they like here.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I'm the guy who answered the Billy Joel Allentown song. I'm the guy who's saying, hey, now let's get down, let's up, which was kind of like the people at the time when Billy Joel did Allentown, people around here were very insulted,
Yeah.
But he was actually right on the money.
Yes.
And so between a couple of guys I was working with, with a Pennsylvania Dutch accent, we did the, hey, nah, let's get down, let's all go that, the Pennsylvania Dutch thing.
And the song's called Do the Dutch.
It's called Do the Dutch. And then as a novelty song, it caught on. I mean, it was amazing how people responded to this. I couldn't walk down the street without somebody yelling, hey, no, let's get down.
It's good to be known.
Well, it is. It's very nice.
Music, and the arts, you want to stay in their minds.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And rather than going through, the police blotter in the newspaper, this was the way I I chose to do it. But so yeah, I don't know why I got into that end of the conversation. But
Speaking of citations, Steve, since you were talking about police blotters, you received a positive citation at one point in 2015 from the Pennsylvania House of Representatives.
yeah.
Really
They recognized a body of work from Steve Brodsky. And
that really saying something. That was incredible.
Well, thank you. Also, getting back to the Allentown song, I know why I brought that up. They gave me the key to the city. Believe it or not, they gave me the key. This was like a big presentation. They gave me the key to the city, and it broke. And actually, we had it. My wife, we had it, and I don't know how it broke, but it broke. And then she contacted the city again, and they gave us a new one. So
what does it open? That's my first question.
I don't know. Mayor Dodona was who's dead and gone, but and a lot of people blame him for a number of things about Allentown, bringing in the New York population. And the reality is Allentown has changed because the industry left. And the industry left because they felt that they could make more money elsewhere as a corporation, which is the American way, or legal in America. Let's say it that way. It's legal in America. And forgive me for it. But talk about the Lehigh Valley. This Lehigh Valley has always been in a very industrial area where iron was definitely, and cement came out of here. Kenny and I did a boat, the Easton boat ride, canal ride. They have 2 mules, and there's people are drinking, but this guy tells the story, the backstory about the canal and the industry that was here in the Lehigh Valley. And this part of the country certainly built, not all of this country, but had a big hand in building the rest of the country.
Oh yeah, that's the old saying, Bethlehem Steel built the world.
Yeah, it's so that song I want to write. I want to talk about the fact that this part of the world, this part of the country, this part of Pennsylvania, even going into Northeast with the coal region, and I've touched on that a little bit in a song that you've heard it before.
Yeah.
About Hazleton.
Oh yes. You can't. It's not the end of the world.
That's right. It's not the end of the world, but you can see it from here.
Boy, thanks again to Steve Brodsky. As you could tell, that show was just nonstop chatter and music, and like all of our artists, they're all just so generous when they talk with us and share their insights and their history with us. And it's just fun listening, fun talking to Steve. I hope you picked up on that thing toward the end also, where he said he started talking about the overall history of the region with the coal and how industry has changed, and how the people have changed as well. And it reminded him that he had to work on another song. He kind of dropped that hint here. I should do something on that, and I've heard that from him. So, and that's the other thing, and that's the unique part about Steve, is where he's from and where he lived and where he grew and had success, and it's all part of him. It's very much a part of him. Other artists, where they're from, they may not stay there, and it may not become a huge part of their craft, but for some people it does. Like he mentioned Billy Joel. New York, that's part of Billy. That's part of Billy Joel. So a lot of artists are like that, and Steve's like that with this area. Just wonderful. And also he's still prompting himself, I got a song to write. Hey, thanks for listening to the Steve Brodsky chat. As you can hear, it's so rich and so wonderful to this area. Hey, let's close out this part 2 of the Best of Season 1 review with a Steve Brodsky song. Steve opens up talking about the history of the song and who else was involved in composing it. It's a song called Guns for Hire. Thanks again to Steve Brodsky for a wonderful episode, and to all the other singer-songwriters that we have listened to in this episode. Hey, don't forget, it is Songwriters Alive with Tom Cooney every Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And keep posted for announcements about how things are changing a bit in my musical endeavors. So, but in the meantime, you can catch Songwriters Alive on YouTube, on my channel, Tom Cooney, in the Songwriters Alive playlist, and on Rocking the Valley in the Songwriters Alive playlist there. Thanks to Steve Jones and everyone else at RTV Rocking the Valley. Thanks for their additional distribution muscle. Again, let's move on for this episode with Steve Brodsky. We'll see you next time for part 3 of the best of season 1.
It was written lyrically. I think I wrote one verse, and Richard Webster, who was a guy out of Allentown here, who was actually a great writer, and I covered this for him. This was something he brought to me, and I was able to put it into a musical sense. And the Funky Hunky King was something he wrote that I recorded, which was disco was coming back for a very short period of time, of course, and somebody was able to stop that. But
all right,
he wrote this song about private eye detectives, kind of like a Nick Danger kind of character. Something called Guns for Hire. Guns for hire on a sale. Confidential clientele. Just be sure that you make my bill. I might take your case. Twist the wrist and turn the screw. I took the fee to spy on you. Just be careful of what you do. I'll be watching you. Cause I'm always lurking in the shadows of everybody's schemes. And I'm the guy on the trail of everybody's dreams. Moisten lips and dampened pants. Paid the price, I took a chance. I didn't know I'd catch you. You're dancing with a gigolo. So take the double cross and run. And always double check your gun. Indiscretion is no fun. When the whole world knows. That I'm always lurking in the shadows of everybody's schemes. And I'm the guy on the trail of everybody's dreams. So take the rap and pay the price. I don't get thinking twice. No reward for thinking twice. Yeah, the case is closed. Do that again. So take the rap and pay the price. I don't get paid for being nice. No reward for thinking twice. Yeah, the case is closed. Yeah, I'm always lurking in the shadows of everybody's schemes. Yeah, I'm the guy on the tree of everybody's dreams. Everybody's dreams. Everybody's anybody's dreams. Sorry, I messed that up there a little bit.
That's a neat tune. Neat tune.
That's off my Any Minute Now CD.
Excellent, excellent, beautiful. Well,
Actually, Michael Fossa helped kind of arrange that a little bit, and Mike Krasukis produced that record. And I've worked with the producer Dan McKinney, and I've worked with Wayne Becker from Westwire. Great producers.
hey, again, thanks for that great song, Steve Brodsky. Thanks for joining us on part 2 of the Best of Season 1 review of Songwriters Alive with Tom Cooney. Thanks for listening. Thanks for liking. Thanks for sharing. And thanks for subscribing to my channel, my YouTube channel. Also, make sure you subscribe to Rocking the Valley's YouTube channel as well. We will see you next week for part 3, the final part of the Best of Season 1 review of Songwriters Alive. Everyone, be safe, be well, be kind, be positive, be smart. Mask up, social distance up, keep on the good behaviors where the vaccines are starting to get out there. Just make sure you're staying positive and setting a good example for all of those around you. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you next time on Songwriters Alive.
Breath of twilight caresses the air. The river mist hangs sweet and fair. The evening swallows, they whisper their tune, dancing on the moon. Why have the stars called us?